Hi, welcome to the Joy Club. My name is Amy. Thank you for joining me on this video today. So I thought I'd come outside while the weather is still really nice. We're having a really beautiful day here today, and it's supposed to get cold starting next week, so I may not be able to get back outside for a while. And I've been wanting to film videos outside because I just feel so much more open and expansive when I'm outside in nature. So I'm going to try this today. I've got my little microphone with a little fuzzy cap on it that's supposed to help with any wind. It is a little bit windy here today. I had this hooked up to like a Bluetooth device, but I can't get it to pair with my phone, even though I tested it out and it worked the other day. So I put this on my tethered microphone and stuck the little dead cat. I hate how they call it that. But anyway, so I'm gonna have to hold this because I don't really have a place to clip this on this shirt. So you may have noticed the title of this video says part 2. And the reason for that is I decided to make a series of videos talking about this new frequency that I first talked about a few videos back. So I went back and edited the title of that video and put part 1 in the front of that. So that video was, the thumbnail on that video was, I forgot to write it down. Will you answer the call or something like that? And the title was Never Seen Before Frequency is Reaching Out to Some Lightworkers Now. Something like that. It was back in September when I posted that video. And since then, I have received so many more messages. So much more has come to me, like details about this frequency. So I decided to break up these messages that I've been receiving into a few videos. So I'm going to post, it's probably going to end up being like 5 or 6 videos. And I'm going to try to post one a week for the next few weeks. So just to recap really quickly, the first video, it was just like an introduction, sharing that I've been receiving this message this year about a new frequency being available to a specific group of lightworkers. And that was all I really shared in that video, I think. And like I said, since then, I've been receiving more information about this frequency. So I wanted to share that with you today, starting with why it's considered new and why now. So I asked Spirit for more clarification on this like newness that I was sensing and hearing. And what I heard was it has not been seen on Earth for a very, very, very long time. So it isn't that the frequency is new, like it's been newly created by source or something like that. It's just that it's new to modern humanity, is what I heard. So, and actually it's just the opposite as far as this frequency. It's actually ancient. And I may have mentioned that in the first video, that I was getting that this frequency is ancient. And the word that I keep hearing over and over is primordial. So the thing is that it's new to modern humanity, but it was accessed at one time. So I went into another channeling session and I asked Spirit, what or when was this frequency seen before on Earth? And I immediately heard 14,000 years ago. So I'm very clairaudient. I receive most of my messages through my clairaudience. Clairvoyant also, and claircognizant. Those are my 3 strongest clairs. So I heard 14,000 years ago. And right after that, I heard some humans had access to this frequency. I took notes, so I've got my little notes here in front of me. I always write my messages, my channeled messages, down in notebooks. And then I just took notes for the video on this pad. But I heard that some humans had access to this frequency and used it in ceremonial magic. So that was the exact words that I received. And this enabled this new level of heart awakening. So I started to sense when I got the ceremonial magic that this frequency had been used by shamans, and it enabled this new level of heart awakening, this new level of conscious awareness, like this awareness level of a higher consciousness. And of course, shamans, when they go into a trance state, they are accessing different realms. If you're familiar with shamanism, like the higher, lower, and middle realms. Basically, I'm kind of butchering the way that's described usually, but there was something about this frequency that they accessed, and what I got was that the access, when they went into their trance state, they opened this portal. So this message is going to get very strange, very very out there, and I really hesitate sharing these because, like I said, it's some really out there kind of stuff. But I've received so many signs and synchronicities showing me that, like confirming the information that I'm channeling, that I feel really confident about what I'm receiving. So I'm just going to share what I'm receiving. And little side note here, I'm not one of those channelers that just talks about the information I receive like I'm talking about the weather. Like some channelers that, they talk about this really crazy information they're channeling from galactic beings and all this stuff, and it's still very I don't know, hard for me to share with others and to like admit that I'm doing this and I'm receiving this kind of information, but it's kind of gotten to a point where I just can't deny it any longer. So I'm just showing up and I'm sharing it as I'm guided. So anyway, these shamans accessed this portal to this frequency. And what else I got about that was that there's something about it being kept very secret and only in like very small circles. So when I think about shamanism, each like tribe or clan would have their own shaman, but that shamans would probably connect with one another, kind of talk shop. I don't know. This is just, I have this whole like download, this vision and this knowing of kind of how this went. And they were discussing this fact that they've opened this portal and had accessed this frequency, and it caused an awakening in them that they had never experienced before. And it was really almost like freaked them out a bit. And it was, the words I was getting was, sorry, let me look at my notes. I wrote down a couple words. That it was, maybe I didn't write it down here in my notes, but anyway, it was something about like, it felt like a miracle. If it was, I gotta look at my notebook. What did I write about that? It felt magical, and it was like this great mystery, this great miracle. And it was just something that they had never encountered before. And they also were communicating with galactic beings in this experience of this frequency. And I also received that they were connecting with beings that were from Atlantis, the time of Atlantis, that people who had lived during that time and achieved a high enough level of awakening that when they passed into the spirit world, they became guides, like ascended masters. And they were contacting these shamans 14,000 years ago and introducing this frequency to them. And, shamans wouldn't share their practices with their communities. The point of their practices were for them to go into an altered state of consciousness and access these other realms and bring back information and things to help their community, but they weren't directly sharing how do I describe it? Like, the frequencies. Like you think of like if you hear shamans today, okay, people who claim to be shamans, they will often take like everyday people on shamanic journeys. And shamanism originally, it was only the shamans that went on these journeys. They weren't taking their community members on these journeys. They were just going there themselves and accessing the information that they needed to serve their communities. So I hope I'm explaining that okay. And this frequency that they encountered, it was just something, I mean, just because it was so otherworldly, it was such a high frequency, it was almost like they weren't quite prepared for how to embody that or work with it in a consistent way. So it was kept in this, like I said, this closed circle. And after this time period, it's like the portal sort of closed. Okay, so I don't have a lot of clarity around this frequency and kind of why it disappeared yet. So Spirit has been just giving me information like a little bit at a time. So I know, and that's why I've been guided to break this up, this information I've been getting, into a series, because they're going to give me a little bit at a time. So before I make a video about this frequency, I'm hoping I'm going to get some more clarity on this frequency. So what I wanted to share now was, after I channeled this message, I thought, I didn't really remember like 14,000 years ago, like what time period that was. I'm not really good about remembering dates and, you know, what period of the earth 14,000 years ago was. So I decided to Google it. And the first thing I Googled was just 14,000 years ago and on planet Earth. And I came up with a little bit of information. One thing I'm going to share with you later. So I got two different things. Sorry, I'm a little bit disjointed. Bear with me. I'm still getting used to doing these videos. So anyway, 14,000 years ago was the end of the last ice age. And there was a significant geographic event that happened at that time that I'm going to share with you in just a minute. But what I thought was really amazing, after I read about this time period and this event, I went back and Googled 14,000 years ago spirituality, just to see what might come up. And the first thing that came up was that, connected to spirituality, was that there was a cave painting that was discovered that was dated to 14,000 years ago. And it's a famous cave painting. It's in France, and it's called The Sorcerer. And they believe that it was depicting shamans performing rituals. And the cavern that this cave painting was found in is called the Sanctuary. And they said the painting suggests that that chamber was used to practice magical ceremonies. And that was the exact wording in this article that I came across. And the first thing that I heard in channeling this message was that some humans had access to this frequency and used it in ceremonial magic. So it's like little signs and synchronicities like that feel very confirming to me. So I feel pretty good about this message being accurate. So I thought that was super, super interesting. So the other thing I would share about this 14,000 years ago that is kind of interesting, related to what's going on today, like cosmically, is that during that time there was a massive solar event. It was a solar storm that hit the Earth. And the article that I was reading said that if an event like that were to happen today, it would be catastrophic because of our reliance on technology. So a storm like this would permanently damage the electric grids and the satellites that we rely on for navigation and telecommunications, and it would cause massive blackouts that would last for like months and months. And I thought that was really interesting. If you follow any of the, cosmic solar activity that's going on with our planet at any given time. Right now, we are experiencing, like the last few years, there's been an uptick in solar flares and coronal mass ejections and things like that. And so researchers are saying, like, we really need to pay attention to and prepare for any kinds of events like that, because we're sort of overdue for something like that based on history and the cycles and everything that we've gone through in the past. We're like overdue for a solar event like that. So I just thought this was all really, really interesting with that 14,000 years ago kind of thing. So I wanted to share that with you as far as, why this is not necessarily new, as in never existed before, but it was before modern humanity. However, now is the time that this frequency is available to the planet. And the reason why is because the collective awakening threshold has been met on our planet that will enable us to access this frequency. So, we've ascended, or I guess you could call it ascended, to a certain level of vibration, conscious awareness in humanity and Mother Earth herself. And in the last decade, especially the last 5 years, we've seen, we've been receiving assistance from higher realms, which has greatly accelerated our awakening. And this is because we have awakened enough so that, like, our hearts have called out to source, to just higher dimensional beings to assist us. Because we have free will, we have to ask for assistance. And we have done that. And this help has been coming in for us the last, like I said, last 5-10 years especially, to accelerate the rate of awakening happening on our planet. And during this time, we have been receiving like upgrades to our DNA, purification and recalibration of our light body. What else did I write down here? It's just really accelerated our awakening process to really kind of jumpstart our real shift into the fifth dimension. So, I don't know if you've had the experience of spiritual awakenings happening more frequently for you. So spiritual awakening isn't something that just happens one time. It's normally a series of awakenings, and we just, as we go through our lives, throughout our entire lifespan, we will just continue to awaken. But it's happening at such a fast rate now. Like, I remember my first awakening, I would say, was around 2000, like the early 2000s. And then my next big awakening was in about 2015. And then my next one was 2020. And then I would say maybe again 2023. And then 2024, I was in this like massive like void space where I know, looking back now, I was just integrating and doing a whole lot of shadow work and that sort of thing. And then this year, 2025, it has been one awakening after another, just coming so close together, where it used to be much more spaced out. So that's what's happening right now. And this like mass level of awakening has opened up the awareness, first, like unconsciously, in those of us who incarnated here at this time and decided that we would come here on the mission to work with this frequency. So we decided before incarnating here, this group of us, a group of Lightworkers. So if you resonate with this message so far, all these crazy things I'm saying. If this is resonating with you and there's some synchronicities and coincidences, signs, whatever, that you've been getting in this message so far, you are one of this collective who signed up for this soul mission, and it's just now starting to awaken in you. And this awakening, this realization in this collective has opened this portal again, is what I'm hearing. And this happened, like I said, without us really consciously being aware of it. But it happened sometime earlier this year, is what I'm hearing. And when that portal opened, the frequency actually started like reaching out to us. And it's been speaking to us and calling to us. And if you're in this collective, you have been going through a massive transformation this year in your own awakening process, and probably have experienced possibly a lot of difficulties in your like relationships, like the big stuff in your life, either relationships or things like your career, or you're questioning your purpose, experiencing a lot of health, either problems or just changes that you know are going on physically. Like maybe you've had more illnesses than usual, like nothing major, but just like little like illnesses coming like more frequently, and like a lot of like purging and that sort of thing, because this frequency is not only reaching out for us to answer it, but it is working with us and on us. And I'm going to talk more about this frequency in some more videos, future videos, but there is a group of beings involved with this that are guiding us and working with us, and I want to say on us, helping to upgrade, like I said, our light body and our DNA and our physical vessel. I don't know if you've been feeling called to like really pay attention to like your diet and just the way you're taking care of your body, fitness, all of that, like feeling called to get more serious about taking care of yourself, like on all levels. And that is so we can work with this frequency. So probably my next video, I don't know the order I'm going to do them in yet, but getting prepared, like the preparation that we are being called to do to be able to work with this frequency is really, really important. So I'm just looking at my notes, see if there was anything else. Yeah, so we're going to be given our next steps about this frequency in upcoming months. But what I'm hearing is the next few months, like between now and the end of the year, is we're really being called to get serious about our spiritual practices. And like I said, preparing to be introduced to this frequency and learning more about it and how to access it, how to embody it, and what exactly we're supposed to do with it, because I don't really know all of that yet. But I'm being told that we're going to be given that information more and more. So I think I'm going to leave this message here. And like I said, I have more videos coming up. I'll have one next week. And in the next few weeks, I'll be sharing videos. And if this message doesn't really resonate with you, I do feel like I am being connected to other collectives that are slightly different. I think this is a small collective about this new frequency, but I do feel that I'll be bringing some messages for some other collectives. And I may just do some other videos in between these frequency updates, I guess you could call them. So maybe I'll move to doing 2 videos a week. We'll see as the coming weeks unfold. So so if this reading resonated with you, I would love to know. Leave me a comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would love to have you join my channel and this discussion. And I'll see you again really, really soon. Take care. See you next week. Bye.